What's up, fight fans? This is Counterpunch with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Dillian, the body snatcher Whyte. Dillian Whyte and Andy Ruiz are at it again, as Dillian Whyte taunts Ruiz by posting a video of another obese man doing some dance moves, saying, "Stick to boxing, brother. Leave the dancing alone." His hashtag at Andy the Cake Destroyer was a play on Ruiz's Destroyer fighting nickname. And it shows a guy dancing. And the funny thing about it, it's like you get a guy that looks like Andy Ruiz because, you know, he has a top, big upper bottom, titties, you know what I mean? You know, and then little legs, you know, and like the muffin top he got going. And the funny thing is, he actually looked like Andy Ruiz. He said, you know, he was he was similar, right, in shape. You know, then he was a brown skinned guy. So, you know, and this just won't stop with these guys. You know, it's humorous. It keeps us entertained during this quarantine season or whatnot. You know, the fights might have stopped momentarily, but the trash talk will never stop, obviously. And these guys are going back and forth, counterpunches to counterpunches. And the only way this is going to be settled unless these guys fight. You know what I mean? And I think Andy Ruiz at this point, I think the weakest link starts with him. You know, it's almost like, have you ever seen two people in public that were about to throw down? They had a disagreement and they were shoving untasteful comments at each other, right? They were just talking smack back and forth. And then you notice the one that's more aggressive is the one less likely to throw the first punch. In this case, I think it's Andy Ruiz. You know, Andy, I don't think that he's just like the number one smack talker. In fact, I think he's low on the totem pole, but he keeps it live enough and he keeps the interest up and the beef between these two just enough to make you think like, okay, what's going to come of it? Will these guys actually get in the ring one day? Will Andy Ruiz sign the contract? Will he decide, hey, you know what? I can beat Dillian Whyte. You know, even though now the Dillian Whyte stanky leg one was funny. You know, he had all the celebrities looking. And that was when Anthony Joshua hit Dillian Whyte. And Dillian's white legs went all over the place. He kind of looked, it resembled Zab Judah in a sense. Not as dramatic, but it was in that ballpark, right? Because he got hit and his legs went all over the place. And the funny thing about it, it makes so much sense. And I laugh because Dillian Whyte doesn't have the best stable legs under him either. You know, so both of these guys have flaws like everyone else does, but I mean, it's just amusing to see these guys going back and forth. But again, what's ever going to come of it? When we see these guys fight, I do want to see Andy Ruiz step up. I do want to see him, or should I say, I want to see Andy Ruiz step back up. Okay? I don't want to see him hang around, take smaller fights, no-name fights. I don't want to see him in a situation where the guy's just falling through the cracks. Because what could happen with that, the guy that you select could just be hungry enough just to beat you on that day. He might not beat you any other day except that day. Okay? Like, look at Adam Kalnaki's situation. Adam Kalnaki was just upset. He was knocked out in 4 rounds by Robert Helenius, the Viking, the Nordic warrior, right? Now, we all know that the Nordic warrior was defeated by Jarrell Washington, which Jarrell Washington was just knocked out, and he was beat by Adam Kalnaki. He was first beaten by Deontay Wilder, and, you know, he's had his pound of flesh in the ring. He's had his up and downs, but he beat Hellenius. But Hellenius beat Adam Kalnaki. Now, and you ask yourself, Adam Kalnaki, what did he really, who could have he fought that was a name that was worth the risk? He could have fought Dominic Brazil, couldn't he? He could have, but he didn't. And everybody thought, hey, that was a duck, right? And then he goes and runs into Hellenius, and Hellenius just hungry enough, right? Just motivated enough to go in there and upset Adam Kalnaki. The same thing could happen to Andy Ruiz, because if my take about Ruiz is, if Ruiz is not motivated, if he's really not into it, I'm with Manny Robles. I believe what Manny says. If Andy Ruiz is not really up to the challenge, he could be beat just by being complacent. Okay, not stepping up. I don't know about being knocked out, because as of June of last year, he never been knocked down. Anthony Joshua, popped that cherry for him, but he beat Anthony Joshua, right? Well, what happens is if he goes in there with these guys that he thinks that's safe and gets beat? If it could happen to Adam Kalnaki, it could happen to Andy Ruiz, right? So him throwing shade with Dillian Whyte back and forth. One thing about Dillian Whyte wants to fight. If he's made any reputation about himself, it's he wants to fight. He wants to fight these guys that claim they don't. And then now Counterpunch and Luis Ortiz, to mention him, because he was the one that came and called out Ruiz and asked him, why do you need a tune-up? Okay, fight Dillian Whyte. You want to fight these high echelon fights for the most money, get in there with Whyte yourself. Okay, that would be a suggestion to King Kong. King Kong should take on the body snatcher, but so should Andy Ruiz. But anyway, the Smack Talk, it's humorous. I will leave the link below. Actually, a couple links to let you guys have a little history if you haven't heard the recent beef between these guys, Ruiz and Whyte. You guys tell me what you think about these two. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.